So finally, I've managed to get 100 miles on these shoes. These are the Inov8 X-Talon 225s. I got these at Christmas. Haven't been able to put miles on them as quickly as I'd hoped because of issues with work and what have you. But I managed to do that now, and so as promised, I'm doing this 3-month 100-mile test. They've proven to be fantastic. I'm very, very pleased with them. I'll break this down into the comfort and the durability and a couple of bits and pieces. One of the main issues with the old X-Talon 190s was that they used to fail in this area here. Now, I spent a couple of years converting into toe striking from a heel striker. And so the shoe flexes in this area here, and the 190s had a much softer upper, and they used to break down here and you used to end up with holes coming through. Well, after 100 miles I run it quite a lot on Dartmoor. It's things like park runs, which I run absolutely flat out. There's hardly any sign of deterioration on here whatsoever. They are very, very good, these shoes. With regards to things like cushioning, I've had a few people contact me about the width of them, the fact that these shoes are sold as a precision fit shoe. Some of the other minimal shoes have a wider toe box area here, which allows the toes to splay. Now, I used to be a big fan of that with the old bare grips and things like that, but I found myself gradually staying with a minimal shoe, but going to something that has a tiny bit more cushioning in and slightly less of an area in the toe box. This holds your foot very, very sort of precisely, as it suggests. It's not firm, but it's precise. It makes them very, very precise for actually placing. So when you're running very fast on sort of muddy ground with rocks and things sticking out of them, for me it seems that it's much more easy to be able to place your foot accurately, which you obviously need to do in those conditions, otherwise you're going to end up on your arse. So they are a little bit tighter around here than some of those wide splay shoes, but what I tend to do is put them on for 5-10 minutes before I do the laces up, and then just wander around the house getting ready. And that gives them a time to sort of resettle to the foot. I'm not sure, but they kind of feel as though they shrunk a tiny bit if you don't use them for a week, which may be something to do with the drying process. I wash these every time after use. But yeah, so if you put them on and just wander around the house a little bit before you tie the laces up, you should find that they'll sort of kind of conform to the shape of your foot. So I find that works really well for me. Flexibility wise, they're very flexible in this sort of direction, not quite as flexible as the old 190s in that direction, and they're kind of designed for a bit of sort of control, I suppose, which again I used to be dead against, but I am finding these very, very good. I really like them, and that little bit of extra padding on the bottom, I find, especially on long runs, if you're doing sort of half marathon distances on trail or longer, it just gives they just remain comfortable for a longer period of time. Now, I don't do ultras. I don't do anything over, sort of 17 miles probably is the longest I would go in one go. So I can't say what they would be like for ultras. They may not have enough cushioning there for you, but anything up to half. Right, then I ran 12 miles on Dartmoor, which is a lot of rocky sort of stuff last weekend, and they've been fine. As I said before, I run very much on my toes these days. Don't know if you can see, there's more wear here than here. All that's happening is it's taking the edges off, but I used them at parkrun yesterday, which is still very muddy, and they were very, very precise in the mud. You just don't have to slow down at all, you just absolutely cane it. Brilliant. And yeah, the other thing is, compared to the X-Talon 212s, they only have a 4mm drop in the heel to toe drop, as opposed to 6 in the 212, and I prefer these. It helps keep me on my toes. I haven't used the 212, so I can't really do a direct comparison, but if you're a minimal shoe user, and you want a low heel to toe drop, these are very good. As I said before, the durability has been great. The studs are wearing well. These are waterproof. This part is waterproof. There was some slight concern about holding water, but it seems to force it out through this tongue. This tongue is water permeable, and I've not felt at all any time where water retention in them was causing an issue, making them feel heavy. I tried some mud claws a while back, and they're a 300 gram as opposed to 225, and I did find on a long sort of 12-mile run, if they got wet, they did feel quite clumpy, but I've not noticed that with these at all. And looks wise, these are still slightly wet, so they tend to look a bit lighter. They don't seem to go pink in UV degradation sort of thing, which a lot of red things do, like cars for instance. The logo is still very clear. Yeah, they still look good. They still seem fine. Other than that, not much more to say. I think they have been brilliant. They still look as though they've got a lot of life left in them. So I would imagine that they're good for another 100 miles. I suppose with the weather starting to get a bit dry, maybe they are going to wear a little bit more rapidly on the studs on the front. But I highly recommend them. If you're looking for something that's light and fast for, you know, short sort of 5-10k trail runs, I would go for them. Highly recommended. Thanks.